Feng Shui masters warn, this stove placement can block money. The money engine most homes ignore. Most people think money problems begin at work, at the bank, in the market, or in their mindset. But classical Feng Shui has always warned about something far closer and far more influential. The place where income is generated, not earned. The place where money is sustained, not chased. The place where financial stability is either protected or quietly burned. Your stove. And before you move on, take a mental note. Is your stove gas or electric? Keep that in mind because the difference matters more than most people realize, and we'll come back to it later. This video is not about cooking, not about recipes, not about aesthetics. It's about why Feng Shui masters warned that the wrong stove placement slowly destabilizes money, even in hard-working, intelligent homes. And why modern psychology now confirms the same pattern through behavior, stress regulation, and decision-making. Stay with me because one stove mistake is so common that most people never question it, and it carries one of the highest long-term money risks in Feng Shui.
Part 1. Why the kitchen was never just a kitchen. In classical Feng Shui, the kitchen is not a background space. It is a wealth engine. While bedrooms restore the body and desks guide direction, the kitchen governs sustainability, consistency, income retention, and financial nourishment. This is because food represents earth chi, survival, stability, and continuity. And the stove? The stove represents active wealth creation, not sudden money, not luck, but the ability to generate, maintain, and protect resources over time. This is why ancient texts treated stove placement with extreme seriousness. Misplace the stove and money becomes unstable. Not immediately, but gradually. Part 2. What modern psychology sees. Modern cognitive behavioral therapy explains something strikingly similar. Financial stability is not only about income, it's about emotional regulation around resources. When the environment that represents nourishment feels unsafe, chaotic, or exposed, the nervous system shifts into short-term thinking, scarcity behavior, emotional spending, difficulty saving. People don't become reckless, they become unconsciously reactive. And this is where ancient Feng Shui and modern psychology meet. Part 3. What Guo Pu taught about fire and wealth. In Zhang Shu, Guo Pu taught that fire is the most volatile of the 5 elements. Fire creates. Fire transforms. Fire sustains life. But fire must be contained and protected. When fire is exposed, rushed, or placed without support, it becomes destructive instead of nourishing. The stove is fire chi. If fire is placed where it is overexposed, rushed, unstable, attacked by opposing elements, it burns resources faster than they can accumulate. This is not symbolic, it is energetic logic. Part 4. What Young Yun's song warned about repeated loss. Young Yun's song expanded this understanding further. He observed that when fire chi is improperly positioned, households experience repetitive financial leakage. Not dramatic loss, but money coming in and going out, difficulty keeping savings, sudden expenses, constant almost stability. This pattern was never blamed on fate, it was blamed on structural misalignment. When the stove is compromised, wealth cannot rest. Part 5. The most dangerous stove placement. Reveal. Now let's address the core warning. The highest risk stove placement in Feng Shui is a stove directly facing the sink, the refrigerator, or strong water sources. Why? Because water attacks fire in the five-element cycle. This creates internal conflict, resource tension, energy cancellation. Symbolically, fire equals income generation. Water equals expense, flow outward. When fire faces water, wealth is constantly extinguished. Psychologically, this mirrors earning followed by immediate spending, difficulty holding money, stress around finances, feeling like income never sticks. Part 6. Why this shows up as money stress, not bad luck. People often say, "I make money, but I can't keep it. It feels unstable. There's always something." This is not moral failure, not discipline failure. It's environmental conditioning. The brain responds to repeated signals. If the core wealth symbol in the home reflects conflict, the nervous system stays alert. Alert systems don't save, they survive. Part 7. Other high-risk stove positions. Other placements Feng Shui masters warned against. Stove directly facing the main door. Money enters and exits too quickly. Stove placed under a window. Wealth lacks containment. Stove squeezed between opposing elements. Constant financial tension. Stove hidden, cramped, or neglected. Income undervaluation. These do not cause poverty. They create inconsistency. And inconsistency is what exhausts people financially. Part 8. Why smart people are hit harder. Highly intelligent people often compensate longer. They budget, they work harder, they analyze. But environmental stress drains cognitive bandwidth. Over time, even disciplined people lose financial clarity, make reactive decisions, feel tired around money. This is why Feng Shui never blamed individuals. It corrected systems. Part 9. The correction, not renovation. This does not mean rebuilding your kitchen. Corrections are subtle, creating symbolic separation between fire and water, restoring support behind the stove, ensuring fire is not rushed or exposed. The goal is not perfection, it is stability. Part 10. Activation. Why placement alone is not enough. Feng Shui has never been passive. Yang Yun's song emphasized that form must be activated by intention. Modern psychology agrees. Behavior changes only when meaning is present. After correction, pause. Stand in front of the stove. Place one hand on your chest. Say, "I allow my efforts to nourish stability, not stress." This aligns action, emotion, identity. Part 11. What changes when fire is protected? When fire qi stabilizes, spending becomes calmer. Decisions slow down. Savings feel possible. Money feels less threatening. Not because money increased, because pressure decreased. Part 12. Electric cooktops and Feng Shui. Why fire still governs wealth. A common question arises in modern homes, especially in the United States and England. What if the stove is electric? From a classical Feng Shui perspective, the answer is very clear. An electric cooktop still represents fire. In Feng Shui, the five elements are not defined by appearance, they are defined by function. Fire qi is not about visible flames, it is about heat, activation, and transformation. An electric cooktop still generates heat, transforms raw food into nourishment, sustains daily life, represents the ongoing creation of resources. Because of this,
The stove, regardless of whether it uses gas, electricity, or induction, remains the primary fire element of the home. Classical Feng Shui has always adapted to technology. Ancient texts described wood-fired stoves because that was the technology available at the time, not because fire requires flame. The principle never changed. Does electric fire change the money rules? No. The five-element relationships remain exactly the same. Fire still governs income generation, financial vitality, the ability to create and sustain resources. Water still governs outflow, expenses, emotional cooling, money leaving the system. So when fire directly faces water, whether through a sink, refrigerator, or dishwasher, the same energetic conflict exists. The form is modern. The relationship is ancient.
The one important nuance of electric fire. There is, however, one subtle distinction worth understanding. Electric fire is more contained, less volatile, less aggressive than open flame. Because of this, the financial effect often appears more slowly. Instead of sudden loss, people experience gradual financial leakage, difficulty building savings, money that arrives but never accumulates, constant small expenses. This reflects the energetic signature of suppressed fire, not explosive fire. In Feng Shui terms, the fire is present but not fully supported. Why this shows up as stress, not bad luck. People often describe this pattern as, I earn, but I can't keep it. There's always something that uses the money. It feels unstable even when income is steady. This is not failure. It is not a lack of discipline. It is environmental conditioning. When the home's primary wealth symbol reflects conflict, the nervous system remains subtly alert. Alert systems focus on survival. They don't prioritize accumulation. From a psychological perspective, this constant alertness leads to short-term financial thinking, emotional spending, difficulty planning long-term, reduced tolerance for delayed reward. Money requires calm systems. Calm systems require stability. Correction without renovation. Correcting this does not require changing the cooktop. It requires restoring symbolic and energetic support. This includes avoiding direct visual confrontation between fire and water, ensuring the stove feels protected rather than exposed, creating a sense of backing and containment. The goal is not perfection. The goal is stability. When the environment signals stability, the nervous system follows. And when the nervous system stabilizes, money behavior changes naturally.
Activation. Why placement alone is not enough. Classical Feng Shui was never passive. Form without intention remains inert. After correcting or stabilizing the stove's environment, activation is essential. This does not mean ritual in a mystical sense. It means conscious alignment. Pause in front of the stove. Place one hand on your chest. Take a slow breath. State clearly, I allow my efforts to nourish stability, not stress. This action aligns physical space, emotional regulation, identity reinforcement. Modern psychology confirms this principle. Behavioral change occurs when action, meaning, and awareness converge. What changes when fire is protected? When fire chi is supported, spending slows. Financial decisions feel calmer. Savings feel achievable. Money no longer feels threatening. Not because income suddenly increases, but because internal pressure decreases. And pressure, not lack of money, is what drives most financial instability. The deeper truth. The stove does not create wealth. It conditions how a person relates to money.
Feng Shui was never superstition, it was behavioral architecture. When the environment supports stability, the mind follows. When the mind stabilizes, money stops feeling like a battle. This is not about the stove. The stove does not create money. It conditions how you relate to money. Feng Shui was never superstition, it was behavioral architecture. When your environment supports stability, your nervous system follows. And when your nervous system is calm, money stops feeling like a battle. If this changed how you see your kitchen, subscribe to Feng Shui Horizon. Here we don't chase wealth, we stop unknowingly burning it.